Hey, what's up, everybody? Been asked this question quite a bit, so I wanted to address it here with a post on the Matt Moscona YouTube channel. And with the NFL draft having come and gone just this past weekend, the question is coming back quite often to underclassmen that decided to leave early and those that went undrafted, and why you continue to see record numbers of underclassmen leave college early for the draft, even if they're not likely to be picked, or while they run this risk of being a middle, late round pick or even an undrafted free agent. And really what you have to do is go back to the 2011 collective bargaining agreement. So if you go back even further than that, and of course, we're here in Baton Rouge, so everybody remembers the Jamarcus Russell contract when he was picked first overall, and he got a $50 million contract and somewhere in the neighborhood of $36 million guaranteed, if memory serves. And with that, and then Sam Bradford's contract, which followed, where he got some $50 million guaranteed. When the 2011 collective bargaining agreement came after that lockout, the rookie pay scale was restructured. So no longer do you see those top tier picks getting obnoxious money. What the players union elected to do was instead guarantee more money to veteran players and less money to rookie. They capped the rookie salary pool. So if you look at last year, for example, because we don't have the 2018 figures just yet, but Myles Garrett, for example, was the #1 overall pick, and he got a $30 million contract. It's not chump change. The last pick of round 1 was Ryan Ramczyk, who went to the Saints, the offensive tackle. He got an $8 million rookie contract, so a big gap. But what you saw after that, what you see after that, is a dramatic decrease in rookie contracts after round 1, and certainly a massive drop-off after round 2. So I'll give you a for instance. Duke Riley, former LSU linebacker, was taken in the 3rd round by the Atlanta Falcons. His base pay in his rookie season was $465,000. Malachi Dupre, LSU wide receiver, came out early, went in the 7th round to Green Bay, ultimately was cut, signed with Buffalo. Base pay on his rookie deal, the exact same, $465,000. Now, depending on where you're drafted, you may have other bonuses and escalators in your contract that could get you more money, but specifically the example I gave you, Duke Riley in round 3, Malachi Dupre in round 7, okay? Duke Riley's entire rookie contract is worth $2.6 million. The entire thing, 4 years, the entirety of it is worth $2.6 million. Malachi Dupre's entire rookie contract is worth $1.5 million. So the difference between being a 7th round pick and a 3rd round pick is $1.1 million over the life of the contract, not per year, over the entire life of the contract. So if you're in school and you're projected to be a late round pick or an undrafted free agent, and you think to yourself, well, I could come back and I could maybe become a middle round pick, a 4th, 5th round pick, the money's not that different. So essentially the financials are a wash. Quite literally, the only benefit of saying, okay, I'm going to come back to increase my draft stock, because it's not going to be money. The benefit would be, if a team invests a draft pick in you, you're more likely to stick around with that team until your 2nd contract, which we'll talk about in just a second. So for example, if you are signed by a team as an undrafted free agent and you're in a position battle with a guy who was a 4th round pick, and it's sort of neck and neck, and the team has to decide, okay, which guy are we going to keep? They're more likely to keep the 4th round pick. Now, that's not to say another team might not pick you up and keep you on their roster, and then you get to the 2nd contract, so you may have a little bit more of a nomadic approach to it. But in essence, the money isn't very different, and the benefit would be you have a better chance of making that team initially as a draft pick as opposed to an undrafted free agent. So the key then is getting to the 2nd contract. As a rookie, as a 1st round draft pick, you're guaranteed 4 years, and the team has a 5th year option for you. And that 5th year is a lucrative contract should the team exercise that option and pick up your 5th year. If you're taken outside of round 1, it's a 4-year contract. and then you hit free agency. So the benefit, for example, if you want Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry, for example, Odell was a first-round pick, Jarvis was a second-round pick. Well, Odell is with the Giants, and he has performed at an elite level and wants a new deal, but the Giants picked up his fifth-year option, and so he has no recourse. So Odell has no bargaining recourse other than to say, okay, I'm just going to hold out. I'm not going to play until you give me a new contract. And the Giants are not obligated to give him a new contract if Odell wanted to hold out. On the flip side, Jarvis Landry was in his fourth year. The Dolphins put the franchise tag on him, which is an average of the top 5 salaries at that position. So he was going to make serious bank, in the $15 million range. I forget the exact number on the franchise tag, $13 to $15 million, I want to say it was, if they didn't sign him to a new contract. Instead, of course, they traded him to Cleveland, and Cleveland signed Jarvis to the big deal. So Jarvis, although he didn't get the money up front, like Odell did as a first-round pick, Jarvis got to his second contract more quickly and was able to cash in, while Odell's still waiting for that big second contract, and he'll have to wait another year and hope that he's productive and stays healthy and so on. So if you go back to guys making the decision coming out of school, you're making a decision coming out of school, okay, I'll give you the example of a guy like Toby Weathersby, for example, at LSU, or Will Clapp. Both, I think, were in a similar boat. Toby battled injuries his entire time at LSU. Ankle, knee, shoulder, all that stuff. And quite honestly, that's why he didn't get drafted. He is certainly athletic enough and good enough, talented enough to play tackle in the NFL, probably a right tackle, but there are injury concerns. And if he didn't pass a medical at the combine or at pro day or when he went on these visits with teams, then they're less likely to use a draft pick on him. Similarly, I could say Will Clapp. Will Clapp was an all-SEC guard and an all-SEC center at LSU. He started a ton of games. He's a mauler. He's a good pass blocker. He's smart enough to make all the calls as center. He's versatile. He's everything you want in an NFL player. Will had injury issues. He basically played the entire 2016 season with a labrum issue in his shoulder, had surgery after the season to repair that, which is why he missed spring, and then played as a redshirt junior, a fourth-year junior in 2017. But if NFL teams worked him out and they had concerns over that shoulder, they dropped him down their draft board. So if you're Toby or Will, you can say to yourself, okay, I've had injury issues before. I could come out now, be a late-round pick or an undrafted guy and could try to make a team and start the clock ticking toward my second contract. Or I could come back to school, risk further injury, thus lessening my chances at a second contract in the NFL. And truthfully, even if the year goes great, if I become a third or fourth round pick, the money on that first contract isn't that different. So you're basically weighing, do I bet on myself that I'm going to get into a camp, make plays, and make a roster somewhere, or do I come back to school and try to increase my odds of doing that? A lot of guys decide, hey, you know what? I'm not going to risk the injury of coming back, and the money's not that different, and I'm just going to go and try to start that clock ticking toward my second contract. So that's why you're seeing that more and more now, and it's certainly hurt the college game. And a program like LSU, which has had record numbers of underclassmen leave since 2012, I believe the number's 23 underclassmen that have declared, or 32 maybe it is. I think I got the number reversed. And of those, they've only had 7 first-round draft picks. They've had 7 first-round picks since 2011, the 2012 draft, and 6 players that left early go undrafted. So it's an interesting balance, and it's certainly hurt the college game. But there's this old mentality I think that some fans have that just say, well, if you're not going to be a first-round pick, why leave early? Well, there's actually plenty of reason now, because the incentive to come back and increase your draft stock just isn't there like it used to be. So unless and until that changes, you're going to continue seeing record numbers of players leave early and take their shot at earning a spot on a roster and start counting toward that second contract. And as we know, the truth is the average NFL career is about 3 years, so most of those guys will never make it to a second contract. But if guys are just looking for their best odds and their best entry point to give themselves the best chance to earn a spot and get to that second contract, some feel it's better to go sooner than later, especially considering the benefit of waiting isn't really, honestly, that great, certainly not financially anyway. So I hope that answers that question. If you enjoyed this or if you have comments, feel free to leave them below. I do my dead level best to respond to every single comment that people leave. So leave me a comment. Let me know your thoughts. I'm happy to interact. You can follow me on Twitter and Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook. I'm LinkedIn. I'm basically everywhere, all over that stuff. And if you have not yet, please hit the red subscribe button down there and subscribe to the Matt Moscona YouTube channel. I appreciate it very much. And as always, if you have questions or ideas, something you'd like me to discuss, fire away. I'm happy to do it. In the meantime, until next time.